What's up, Eagles Nation? Welcome to week 14 of the NFL season. Of course, we are still licking our wounds from the previous 3 weeks, including last week's just horrible loss to the, at the time, 2-win Miami Dolphins 37-31. Even to the point where their fans are upset they won that game because they want the pick. So, I guess literally the Dolphins can't win for winning. But it's been much talked about. Obviously, there's a lot of, I don't want to say divide, but I do want to say there's been conflicting feelings in Eagles Nation for the rest of this season, what they want. There are Eagle fans that are saying they don't want to win. What's the point? Just to go to the playoffs and get drubbed in week 1 against San Francisco or Minnesota or Seattle, who they would have to play, even though the game would be here. And then there are Eagle fans like myself that, what, I will always believe that I want to see my team in the playoffs. Because if you get to the playoffs, no matter what the circumstances are, you feel like, anything can happen. We've seen teams get in as wild card teams and win Super Bowls or get to the Super Bowl or whatever. And I'm not sitting here telling you that the Eagles are going to be in, we're going to play for the Super Bowl this year. For Super Bowl 54 this year. I mean, right now, losing to at the time, 2-win Miami team, I can't, sit here and say, oh, Super Bowl. But what I will say is that I want to see this team play at their potential. I want to see this team win. I mean, they're capable of winning games, particularly against, and I know right now, as I said last week, when you lose to teams like Miami, when you have much more on the line than that team does, and to the point that your head coach is saying after the game at press conferences that, they wanted it more. How could a 2-win team want it more than a team that's right now, because of the division that they're in, and it is a crap division this year, why is it that a 2-win team wants that game more than you, when you have everything on the line going into these games, into this stretch of winnable games? That Dolphin team wanted that game more. Their fans certainly don't want them to win. The organization doesn't want them to win. They got rid of players. Some of their better players were gotten rid of. Maybe they could have gotten rid of Parker. Maybe then that wouldn't have happened. Fitzpatrick should have been gone. Maybe then we would have won that game. But no, it's no, I just it's maddening. I get it, and I'm as diehard as an Eagles fan as you're gonna see, in our group of vloggers here on YouTube, and it's maddening to me because when the head coach is saying that, they wanted it more, they played harder, they played harder. How can you let a 2-win team play harder than you at this point of the season? At that time, it's week 13. You still have everything on the line. Dallas lost on Thanksgiving. You have a chance to pull even with them. I know it's a bad division, but you have a chance to pull even with them, and you let the freaking Dolphins score 5 straight drives with a touchdown on you. It's unacceptable. It's unacceptable. But you know what? We talked about that more last week. We're going to move on now. As tough as it is, we're going to move on. And we do have an old friend coming back, Eli. And I know that there are Giant fans out there. I've watched some of their vids. And they are out there kind of thumping their chests a little bit, saying, this is Eli's return. This is where he gets, the swan song, the revenge, the this and that. I really want the Giant fans to pump the brakes, okay? Bones and you guys. Just, the beat, the backup, sound that the truck makes when it's backing up. Beep, beep, beep. Just, I want you to understand something, okay? It's really sad when we're playing in a division where you get fans of teams that have, going into week 14, 3 wins on the season and 2 wins on the season that still feel that they have a chance to win the division and get to the playoffs. That's when you know you're in a bad division, okay? But that being said, the one constant over the years since Eli's been in the NFL, the one constant, and I know there's been games where he's played well against the Eagles, And, it took some, crazy scenarios for the Eagles to win games, the miraculous come from behind winning the Meadowlands, and the one of the many miracle in the Meadowlands games for the Eagles over the years, the Deshaun Jackson punt return those years ago, the 61-yard field goal in 2017 for Jake Elliott to beat the Giants at home. There's been games where Eli's played well, but I have seen much more games over the years where Eli has not played well against the Eagles. The Eagles' defense has gotten to him, to the fact that his career record versus the Eagles, I believe, is something like 10-20. When you're 10 games below 500 against an opponent that you play twice a year, yeah, they're in your head. And it doesn't really seem to matter the circumstances for when the Eagles and Giants play. Because since Eli's been a quarterback in the NFL, and I know he's won 2 titles, and hey, always give him credit for that, beat the GOAT Tom Brady twice and the hoodie twice in those Super Bowls. We did that too. We got him once. The Giants got him twice. The only teams to beat the Patriots in the Super Bowl. I get it. But give him credit. But again, the man is, if I think I heard this right, 10-20 lifetime versus the Philadelphia Eagles. The Eagles have absolutely owned Eli Manning. When you're 10-20 in your career versus a team, that team owns you. So the fact that Eli is coming back because of the high ankle sprain for Jones in this game, and possibly we'll see him again in Week 17, which really could be his final game as a Giant, maybe even his final game in his career at that point. I can't say that this is going to be, that this should be, I should say, reason for much celebration in Giants land. Because if he was coming back against Washington or, another team, Miami, I hate to say Miami, but, another team, I think Giant fans should feel a little okay. But he's coming back against the Eagles, a team that's owned him over the years. And it's not like he has these great stalwarts in front of him in the offensive line. That could be a problem when you're a statuesque quarterback with that offensive line that is really one of the worst in the league. And I know he gets rid of the ball quick, and that we saw that last week with another veteran quarterback and Fitzpatrick. But I mean, if Eli puts up numbers like Fitzpatrick did a week ago, I really think after the game they should just have Jim Schwartz on a bus and just send him away. Just say, you know what? If this is going to be back-to-back weeks against winnable opponents, teams that came into those weeks with 2 wins on the season, and I know this is a divisional opponent, but I mean, come on, with everything on the line, and if your defense struggles against Eli Manning, I know they're getting guys back, they get Ingram back, they get a cup of coffee Eagle, Golden Tate back, but still, if you can't put up if you can't devise a defensive plan to beat a quarterback that you have handled over the years, he has been a giver over the years with the Eagles. He's thrown interceptions. He's turned the ball over. He gets sacked. We see a lot of Eli face. This franchise has seen more Eli face than any other franchise in the league. Okay? He's actually had success against certain franchises, but not so much here. Okay? So I expect, as an Eagles fan, tomorrow night to see Eli face. I expect in Week 17, possibly with the division on the line, to win the division, to see Eli face in that game. Because I've seen a lot of Eli face over the years. Festive has seen Eli face. We want to see Eli face again. Okay? To me, the biggest thing about this game, the biggest question mark, if you will, that I have going into this game, and I know a lot of fire has come under Carson Wentz, and after last week's performance when you score 31 points against a hapless Dolphins team, you should have won that game. I'm not going to throw a ton of blame at Carson. And I don't want to come across as a Carson apologist. He's made mistakes. And look, even last week, I know they got 31. He only scored 10 points in the second half. Against a team like the Dolphins, that defense, that porous defense, you should have scored more in the second half. I get that. There was mistakes. Too much passing the ball for Doug and the coaching staff. And that's the point I'm going to get to here. And I know it's like a broken record. We've heard this before. My biggest question mark going into tomorrow night's game against the Giants is the coaching staff. is Doug, is the play calling. Because again, we are going up against a team that's a winnable team, albeit a division opponent, a winnable team who hasn't won a game since week 4. And they're on a long losing. I get that. Sometimes it's dangerous playing a team like that, whatever. But right now they're playing for picks. They're playing for their seeding in the first to get the first, the first round of the draft. They're not playing for a first round bye. They're playing for their seeding in the first round of the draft, like Miami a week ago. But to me, it's a pundit on this coaching staff to get this thing right. You have 4 weeks. You have 4 games, I should say. 4 games against winnable opponents. And I know the Redskins have been playing better of late. They're on their biggest winning streak of the season, 2 games. Right? And again, as I said before, it's really sad when you're in a division right now where a team with 3 wins has a fan base thinking playoffs. That's just... But to me, again, you are playing 4 winnable games. You have a team in Dallas who right now leads the division by the skin of their teeth, that are just crumbling, as we kind of figured they would. They hate their coach. He's still there. He's still there. And they are just absolutely falling apart at the seams. We all kind of figured they were going to lose to the Bears, okay? It's another team the Eagles beat. The Dolphins, couldn't beat the Dolphins, but we beat the Bears. Dallas loses to the Bears. Again, Dallas, finds a way to lose a game. They made Mitch Trubisky, as much as we made Ryan Fitzpatrick look great last week, Mitch Trubisky didn't look very good against the Eagles. Oh, he looked good against Dallas, though. Oh, he looked good against them. But again, I don't want to fall off on too much of a tangent, although I do enjoy Dallas's failures. But no, this coaching staff has 4 games to right a lot of wrongs that have been going on. Do I believe that they'll do it? I don't know. And it's like I said before, you're not running the ball enough. You're not having a balanced offense. I'm looking at a team like Buffalo, okay? But you're never going to mistake the Buffalo Bills receiving corps as one of the best receiving corps in the league. You're never going to mistake their offense to be one of the best offenses in the league. But guess what? They're playing pretty good. And you know why? Because that coaching staff is putting them in positions to do it. They're running the ball well. They have deficiencies at the receiving corps, okay? They're fast. They're not overly big. Whereas the receivers for the Eagles are big, but they're not fast. Buffalo's the complete opposite. They're not big, but they're fast. But they're not the most talented of receiving corps, but in recent time, they have played better. And the reason for this is because that coaching staff, former Eagle coordinator on the coaching staff for the defense, Sean McDermott, former defensive coordinator for the Eagles, doing a really good job in Buffalo, is putting Josh Allen in the best positions to win games. Why? Because they're using his strength. Josh Allen is a mobile quarterback. And I'm not saying they're putting him in harm's way, for him to just get hurt and end his season, and that's it, basically, for Buffalo. But they are using his strengths. They're letting him move around. They're letting him be a mobile quarterback, keeping plays alive, hard to sack, hard to bring down, right? Keeping plays alive, getting first downs with his feet. And then what happens when you have a mobile quarterback? You're moving around in that pocket. You're rolling out, brings defenses to you. You throw it over the top. You got easy completions down the field. I'm looking at these games with Buffalo. Obviously, look, Thanksgiving, we watched Dallas's demise to Buffalo. You saw Josh Allen make a lot of plays. Now, we didn't see those plays made against the Eagles defense because the Eagles defense played well against him those weeks ago in Buffalo, which was the last time this team put a whole game together. Okay, even though they beat the Bears the last time this team played at their absolute maximum best was that Buffalo game, and they ran the ball on offense. What did the Eagles do offensively in that game against Buffalo? Against a pretty good defense, I would say, right? They're pretty good. Can we all agree that Buffalo has a good defense? Yeah, the Eagles scored over 30 on them. Why? Because they allowed Carson Wentz to use his strengths. They ran the ball as well. They had that balance on the offense. They punched the Bills' defense in the mouth in that game. They punched them in the mouth. They used Miles Sanders. He broke a big 65-yard touchdown run, as he could be capable of doing if they would give him the ball a little more. But they also allowed Carson Wentz to be that mobile quarterback. He rolled out. He made plays with his feet. In the fourth quarter, he was getting first downs with his feet. They weren't just this manila offense that we've seen ever since, for whatever God knows why reason. Okay? And again, I'm going to look at Buffalo, and I'm going to look at them in a similar situation with a quarterback. Okay? And I do think Carson is a little more accurate a passer than Josh Allen. But again, Josh Allen's a weapon with his feet, and they're allowing him to do so. The last few weeks, the Eagles have been keeping Carson Wentz in the pocket so many times, it's ridiculous. Carson Wentz, and he's not without fault in this, because there are times as a mobile quarterback, even if the play call is one way, you have to keep things alive with your feet if things are falling apart in front of you with the offensive line. And Carson just isn't doing enough of it. And I don't know if it's just because of the injuries from the past. I don't know. But we remember last week against Miami, the touchdown pass he had to Arcega-Whiteside, he rolled out. And he kept the play alive with his feet, and it ended in the end zone with a touchdown. I don't care what defense you're playing. If it's a porous defense like Miami or a great defense like Buffalo, if you keep plays alive with your feet, defenders can only defend for so long. It doesn't matter who they have. You can only defend for so long. If your quarterback's keeping plays alive, and how many times Seattle fans get to watch this with Russell Wilson, or Raven fans get to watch this with Lamar Jackson, or Chiefs fans get to watch this with Patrick Mahomes. Guys that can keep plays alive are that much more dangerous quarterbacks. Okay? And this is exactly what Carson should be doing more. I think I saw a stat that was posted on the internet somewhere, probably Twitter or whatever, wherever I saw it, where Carson Wentz is the most accurate quarterback in the league when he rolls out, as far as passing. He's a very accurate quarterback passing on the move. When he's rolled out, when he's running. You know, he's an accurate passer. And the Eagles, again, I just don't think they design enough plays for that. And they have to know this. They have to see his stats and all. Why in the world are you letting a quarterback who is mobile just become a pocket passer? It makes absolutely no sense. New England has to do it with Tom Brady. The Giants have to do it with Eli Manning. Other quarterbacks that are more statuesque over the years, they're not known for running around, Peyton Manning all those years, yeah, you have to design plays more in the pocket, because your quarterback's not going to, have that chance of keeping a lot of plays alive when he's being rushed. Now, there are quarterbacks that have still had a lot of success in the league doing it. Peyton did it. Tom Brady certainly has done it. Eli has done it, because they're able to have that pocket awareness. They get rid of the ball quick, and they also are nimble enough, like Tom Brady, just to move around in the pocket enough to keep things alive when things are falling apart, and then throw a pass to Gronk over the years, or Edelman, or whoever it was, over the years, and make plays. So Tom Brady isn't ever going to be confused as a mobile quarterback, as a rushing quarterback. But I like to look at Tom Brady over his years as a smart quarterback in the pocket, as a pocket mobile quarterback, more so than an actual mobile quarterback. He's a pocket mobile quarterback. Whereas Carson Wentz, look, he could be mobile in the pocket, but he could be mobile outside the pocket as well. Roll him out more. Let him make plays. Utilize him to his strengths. And it's not like this coaching staff is in their first year with Carson Wentz. He's been here for this is his fourth season as an NFL quarterback. Now, I know he was hurt. The last few years, he got hurt against the Rams. He got hurt with the back last season and whatnot, and he's still rehabbing. It hasn't, but there is no excuses this year to not try to use him to his strengths. And again, this falls on the coaching staff. This falls on Doug Peterson, the coaching staff. And again, going off on a long tangent, as I usually do, my original point here is I got to believe in this coaching staff. My biggest question mark, for this game against the Giants and moving forward for the next 3 games after that, to me, it's the coaching staff. To me, it's Doug Peterson. To me, it's the guys who might not be here after this season, right? The Groves and the Walshes and whoever on the offensive underlings to Doug, and there's probably going to be an overhaul after the season, regardless of how the season ends, even if it ends in confetti in the Super Bowl in Miami. But it really falls on these guys, and can I trust them for the next 4 games that they're going to be able to put together offensive play calling that's going to get the job done. I'm more concerned about offense than I am defense. And I know defensively they played horrible last week. And there's no denying that. When you have 5 straight touchdowns against you for the Dolphins, that's a bad game. There's no denying that. But I still have more belief in the defense that they're going to be able to put, because I've seen it. I saw it for 4 straight weeks. Against Buffalo, against the Bears, against the Patriots, against Seattle. Seattle missed some plays, but still, the defense played well in those games. Didn't play well last week. No denying it. The biggest reason why they lost that game last week is the defense sucked. But the offense, again, Manila. Again, Manila. And we can't have that. You are playing against 4 winnable opponents. You got the Giants twice, you got the Redskins, you got Dallas that's just self-imploding all over the place, throwing up on themselves. Okay, at this point, they're that open wound just gushing at this point, okay? We don't want to make them look good in a few weeks, okay? Let's just keep that in mind. But I know it's a horrible division. It's a winnable division. Dallas, just take it from them. And maybe 8-8 wins this division this year. I'm hoping that they're 9-7, that they can win the next 4 games and go to 9-7, win the division with momentum going forward. And yeah, you're hosting a good team, but you're hosting them. Maybe it's a San Fran, Minnesota, whoever, Green Bay, whoever it would be, Seattle, whoever it would be that they get to play as the wild card. Again, as a fan, I don't want to miss out on the playoffs. What fun is that? I want to get in. And I understand you're winning the worst division in football right now in the NFL, and there's not really a lot of excitement with that. But we've seen teams in the past that win a bad division, get into the playoffs, and make noise. And if they allow Carson, if Doug and the coaching staff, the offensive coaching staff, can actually get it right, can understand the failures that they've had in recent weeks, and run the ball and utilize your quarterback to his strengths, they can have success. And maybe they get D-Jax back. And maybe that's a big plus for them because he's that receiver who can, take the cover off of defense. Is that speed receiver that this team is sorely lacking right now. They have a bunch of possession receivers at this point. And Alshon played well last week, but, for the most part, it hasn't gone very well. But again, I put blame on the quarterback. I put blame on the receiver. Like, he still got to catch the ball. And there's been many a time where Carson puts the ball there that the receivers have dropped it. Nelson, we know. Ertz last week, a big 3rd down possession that he drops, an easy catch to make, he drops. And that's not really Zach Ertz's MO. He usually comes down with those catches. He just dropped a bad one last week and then a touchdown later in the game. It wasn't a great game by Zach. But again, this falls on the coaching staff to do better, to utilize an actual weapon that you do have right now in Miles Sanders. Utilize him, running and passing in the passing game. Utilize him. He's a weapon. And he's fresh because he hasn't really seen the ball that often. So look, you have 4 games. You have basically a month's worth of games here to get this thing right, starting tomorrow night against the team that you've owned over the years. There's been no denying that. The Giants have been a team that has not had a lot of success against the Eagles, and their fans are very frustrated with that. And I get that, and they're all hoping to get a win tomorrow. Oh, Eli, the return of Eli! It's like the Lord of the Rings, right? The return of the king. It's like I don't see it. I don't. I'm not overly worried about Eli because I know how Eli's played against the Eagles. Now there has been games where he has played well, but like I said, most of the games the defensive coordinator has done a good job putting games against Eli, where what Eli is. He's a statue quarterback. He's a pocket passer. You got to get pressure on, particularly up the middle. Make him uncomfortable. And I believe that this defense, look, they're upset from what happened last week. The one thing I will say is I think this defense has a lot of stand-up guys on it. A lot of guys who, if they're going to make a mistake, they're going to try to get better. And I do believe that they will put a better game plan and execute better against the Giants than they did against the Dolphins. The other thing that kind of worries, and I know I don't want to go too long here, I got to do the Festive 4 and get through this video here, but the one thing that does kind of concern me about tomorrow, as far as the Eagles coaching staff offensively preparing for the Giants, is the Giants secondary is absolutely awful. It's probably the worst secondary in the league. I mean, they are bad. Bad. And the Dolphins secondary isn't that great as well. But the Giants secondary is just pathetic. They are awful. They get beat every week. You know, we complain here about our secondary. The Giants, it's like every play. It's just about as some big play against them, right? They have been pathetic, awful, and it concerns me. Because this is the type of defense with that bad secondary that Doug and the coaching staff, the offensive coaching staff, are going to say, maybe we'll just pass against these guys. And we'll pass, and then we'll pass some more. And again, this is a recipe for disaster. Okay? Because you don't have great receivers on this team. We know this. So if you're just going to sit Carson back and just pass all the time, it's just going to make you one-dimensional. It's going to lead to some mistakes. And again, it could stall this offense. I want to see this offense come out with that balanced attack. I want them to run the ball. You know, establish a running game. When you're playing against a 2-win team, hit them in the mouth. Let them know the game is over early, which is what they should have done against the Dolphins last week. But just let them give up early in the first half. By the third quarter, they're done. They're done. And that's what worries me. That's one of my main concerns going into this week is the coaching staff is going to see the Giants secondary and going to say, let's just pass on these guys. Yeah, we'll just pass. Forget about the running game. What's the running game? Who runs anymore? Just pass the ball the whole game. And it worries me. Because, the Eagles have lost the last 3 weeks with that mantra, pass. You know, winnable games, all of them winnable games. If your offense could have been a little more balanced, I know last week the defense let them down, but the previous 2 weeks, they were in those games. If the offense just could have been a little more balanced, at least one of them would have been a win. At least you would have gotten a split against the Patriots or Seattle. Maybe even one, here's a thought, maybe even won both games. And even if you did have a letdown against Miami, you're still in good position right now in the division. You're still leading, and Dallas is just falling. Like every game, it's just going down and down and down for them. They're just falling apart every game more and more and more. You know, so can you expect them to turn around? I know they have talent, but they still got the Clapper as the coach. Can you really see them turning it around in the next few weeks? I don't know. I mean, they've basically given up on the coach, and maybe they get rid of the coach after this week against the Rams. We'll see. Another game I would imagine Dallas will lose. But again, you're given these chances. And here we are again, another week, and Dallas played first because they played the Thursday night game. They lost. We know they lost. You win the game, you pull even with them, and you still have a shot at the division. And is it going to be more of the same, like we saw in Miami last week? It is against a team the Eagles have had a lot of success against. It's against a quarterback that they've had a lot of success against. But to me, the question is going to be more so with the offense than the defense, because I do believe the defense is going to play well this week. Not just because it's against Eli and Eli face. But I do believe the defense will play better this week. Look, it's hard to play much worse than they played against Miami. 5 straight possessions with a touchdown. It's hard to play much worse than that. So I do expect the defense to show up tomorrow night and to play a little better. Well, hopefully a lot better than last week. But I want to see this offense, and I want to see what Doug is going to do to try to correct some of the wrongs that have been going on. I haven't seen it yet this season. I saw it briefly against the Bills, against the Packers earlier in the season. I saw it briefly when you had that balanced attack on offense, when you let Carson roll out, utilize his feet, keep plays alive, throw on the run where he's very accurate. And I don't know. I have to see it. And if I don't see it this week against the Giants, I can't tell you that we have any shot. If we lose this game to the Giants at home, back-to-back weeks losing to a 2-win team, I mean, that you thought last week was the low point. I think we found a new low point if that happens. Again, it's a winnable game. Just take care of it, Eagles. Come on. It's been 3 weeks. We want victory. It's been 3 weeks, and I know it's been longer for the Giants to taste victory, but they're playing right now for the draft pick. We're playing for a chance to win a division. And I know the Giants still have an outside shot at the division, as bad as it is. Put them away, win this game, pull even with the self-destructing Dallas Cowboys, okay? And then you have a chance next week against Washington to possibly even get the division lead if Dallas loses against to the Rams. And regardless of what happens there, you could still win the division a week later against Dallas. So get it done. 4 games to win a bad division, but a division title. Go to the playoffs with some momentum, and you never know what can happen. So we'll see. That's my 30-minute rant on this game. But anyhow, let's get to the Festive 4. Festive last week, a 500 week for Festive. I know Festive, it happens. But Festive still did better than the Eagles did last week. But still, a 500 week, 2-2, putting Festive's record overall at 32-16. And this week's Festive 4, Festive believes, again, these teams are going to win, just win, forget the point spreads, whatever, just winners here. So Festive likes in the Battle of Ohio, Festive likes the Cleveland Browns to beat the Cincinnati Bengals. Festive's picked against the Bengals a time or two in the past. Festive's glad that Festive didn't pick against the Bengals last week, but but Festive does like Cleveland to win the Battle of Ohio in the Paul Brown battle, if you will, against the Cincinnati Bengals. The game number 2, now we talk about Washington, right? Their fans now believing because they've won 2 straight and the division winner has 5, or 6 wins. What Dallas has 6, I believe. Those Redskin fans are talking playoffs right now. Well, Festive believes that those talks are going to end because they're playing the Packers this week, and Festive believes the Packers are going to win. The Packers have been a bugaboo with Festive because Festive has picked against the Packers before and they won. So Festive's hoping that the Packers actually help this week and get a win when Festive is picking them to get a win against Washington. So we'll see what happens there. Next game here, hey, again, this is where, hey, Festive isn't afraid to pick the tough one sometimes. San Francisco, New Orleans, one of the good games this week, and Festive believes that the Niners are going to win this game against the New Orleans Saints. Festive likes the 49ers defense. And I came up with a nickname for that defensive line. I know that there's been, I believe I saw on NFL Network, they were talking about what should we name this defensive line, getting a lot of sacks, a lot of turnovers and everything. I called them the Gold Rush. That's my name for the 49ers defensive line, the Gold Rush. But yes, the Gold Rush defense will beat the New Orleans Saints, says Festive. And last but not least, Festive likes those Houston Texans against the Denver Broncos to keep their winning ways going. Talking about a team that has a chance at the division title, the Houston Texans, and Festive likes them against the Denver Broncos, who are playing right now for the first round pick. So, anyhow, that's the Festive 4. To repeat, Festive likes the Battle of Ohio, Cleveland over Cincinnati, Green Bay to beat those red-hot Redskins. 2 wins in a row for Washington. Ends in Green Bay. Likes San Francisco over New Orleans in one of the best games of the weekend, possibly. And also likes Houston over Denver. That is the Festive 4. There is no more for the Festive 4 for this week. There is no more for this video for this week. I know all of you are like, oh, thank God. He does go on. I know. I'm sorry. I have a gift for gab. But, what can you do? Hey, look, again, winnable game, and we said this last week. Winnable game for the Eagles tomorrow night, Monday Night Football against the New York Giants. Put them away. Establish the running game. Be a balanced offense. I know you can throw against the Giants, and you will be able to throw against the Giants in this game. But come on, Doug. The coaching staff, again, put players in a better position to win games. Again, see what Buffalo's doing with that offense and how good they have looked, because they're allowing those players to play at their strengths. They're allowing their quarterback to play at his strength. Got to do with that with Carson. I'm not saying putting him in harm's way. Obviously, he's had some injuries, we know, over the years. But again, if it's one of his gifts, it's one of his strengths, is running and keeping plays alive with his leg, rolling with his feet, rolling him out. He's an accurate passer on the run. Utilize it. Utilize it. Yeah, but anyhow, we'll see what happens tomorrow night. Hopefully, we can be talking about a win after the game. I'll probably have my reaction vid on Tuesday. Obviously, the late game tomorrow, and sometimes it's after the late games. Sometimes after losses, I am up late, but but as far as making the vid, sometimes after the late ones, I just prefer to do it the next day when I'm a little more fresh and whatnot. But get to see me more fresh. But no, hopefully it's a win. Again, this game can go either way. I really, again, it depends on the coaching staff. It depends on what they're able to do. Can they correct things? And over the last few weeks, it hasn't happened. So I can't say I'm overly confident, but I am in a way confident that they can get a win. It is home. It is against a team they've beaten over the years. I know the Giants are looking at like a pride game or whatever. We're gonna show up in this one or whatnot, but we want to see Eli face it. We've been used to seeing Eli face over the years. Let's see some more of it. Good to see him back. It is. But hey, that Giants team, not for nothing, it really could decide our fate here. Okay, because we play them twice in four weeks. And, it could come down to that Week 17 game for the division. Maybe not for the Giants, but for the Eagles to have to win that game to win the division title. The Giants are going to have a say in what happens for the rest of our season. So, Giant fans are either going to say, we got you, or they're going to say, yeah, we're used to this. I'd rather we're used to this. All right, Eagles Nation. Well, let's enjoy the games today on Sunday. Obviously, sit back and watch all there is with football today, and then our game tomorrow night against the Giants, Monday Night Football, and hopefully it will be a victory. So, as always, let's go Birds! Back in the win column this week. I'm predicting a win. I feel we're going to win this game. I'm going to go out on a limb. I'm going to say the Eagles are going to win, and then, have a chance. Have a chance to get take this division away from Dallas. Dallas doesn't want it. They don't want it. Dakota and those guys, they don't want it. They're just saying, you know what? Here, we don't want it. You take it. So we just have to take it. We have to take it from them. It's always good to take something away from Dallas. So let's just do it. Grab it from them. Maybe shake them a little when we grab it from them. So that Jarrah can sit back in his box there, his face just gets more and more droopy. I thought we had it. So anyhow, that's going to do it for me. I will see you all after the game. Hopefully it's a win to talk about. Let's go Birds. All right, everyone. Take care. Bye.